It's difficult to point to a period in the history of the Earth that would inspire and stimulate the imagination more than the Jurassic period. Dinosaurs dominated the world at that time, reaching an incredible variety of forms and sizes. If you're interested in those amazing animals, the history of Earth, or you are simply curious about what today's Poland looked like about 190 million years ago, don't hesitate to hop on our time machine. In today's episode of Poland Rocks, we will literally follow the trail of dinosaurs. We'll find out whether they looked after their offspring and see what's in the poop of a pterosaur. Don't walk away until the end.
Before we deal with the most enjoyable things, that is the dinosaurs and the poop that we've mentioned before, let's take a look at the map of the Jurassic world.
About 200 million years ago, at the very beginning of the Jurassic era, a shallow sea covered the territory of today's Poland. Numerous lagoons, estuaries, and deltas formed on the seafront. The seafront itself was covered with forests composed of ginkgos. Further inland, in the hinterland, there grew herbaceous plains, somewhat resembling today's steppes or savannas, but covered with ferns and not grasses, which appeared many millions of years later. Dinosaurs walked across the beaches and wetlands, leaving numerous footprints. Discovering trace fossils of large reptiles is a real piece of good fortune for scientists today, who, based on the fossils, are able to draw many interesting conclusions. Generally speaking, the Mesozoic border of the Holy Cross Mountains, that is, the north of the Holy Cross Voivodeship and the south of the Macedonian Voivodeship, can be defined as the area of Poland that is the most abundant in Jurassic fossils. Let us first go to the village of 𝗕𝗕𝗃. The local river delta, covered with forest, was inhabited by ancestors of spiny and armored dinosaurs, juvenile sauropods, and herbivorous solidosaurs. A large, over half-meter long trace fossil of 𝗕ᵘ𝗃𝗃 was also found here, which was most likely a footprint of a large predatory theropod. The site in Gliniane Las represents the second type of an early Jurassic ecosystem, a plain covered with ferns. It's one of the places in the world that abounds the most in dinosaur trace fossils, where, among others, the traces of a small omnivorous lepidopterosaur and the traces of a relative of the genus Megapanosaurus have been found. Particularly noteworthy, however, is the trace fossil of 𝗕ᵉ𝗃𝗃 found in the Gliniane Las. Why? Some of you probably know that birds are classified as Saurischiae, reptile-hipped dinosaurs. Yes, you heard it right. All birds, including the cute ones such as songbirds and the repulsive vultures, are dinosaurs according to taxonomy. Trace fossils of 𝗕ᵉ𝗃𝗃 are considered to be proto-bird traces left by the ancestors of birds. This is all the truer of the 𝗕ᵉ𝗃𝗃 trace fossils dating tens of millions of years before the emergence of the famous Archaeopteryx.
We like unique fossils, but we also like unique gifts. We have prepared some for our donators. You are wholeheartedly invited to become our patrons. The gifts are cool, but it's more about our channel being able to exist and grow. Even small amounts will help a lot in the production of new episodes. Fundraising links can be found in the description of the video. And we are going back to the early Jurassic.
Carrying on along the trail, our next stop is the 𝗕𝗕𝗃𝗀𝗃 quarry. It's a unique place, if only because traces of 𝗕ዀ𝗃 trace fossils of a volcanodon herd, have been found here. Although this is the earliest evidence of the gregarious lifestyle of these sauropods, the scale of the discovery goes beyond that. Trace fossils from 𝗕𝗕𝗃 are nothing less than a one-of-a-kind record of a hunt. The rock captures a moment from the lives of 4 juvenile volcanodons, 2 adult specimens, and 2 predators, possibly Dilophosaurus. Analyzing the trace fossils of 8 animals, the researchers concluded that 2 predators attacked the juvenile sauropods from 2 directions. As a result, the young and mature individuals huddled together to push back the attackers. To this day, there remains a great controversy whether dinosaurs looked after their offspring. 𝗕𝗕𝗃 is the earliest dated discovery of this kind, and perhaps this is proof that some dinosaurs were pretty good parents. However, before a dinosaur lady became a dinosaur mom, she had to lay eggs. There are only 2 known locations in the world where an early Jurassic dinosaur nest was discovered. One of them is in 𝗕𝗕𝗃. Also noteworthy is the discovery of traces of Heterodontosaurus and small fragments of bones of predatory dinosaurs in 𝗕𝗕𝗃. We're now moving to the Middle Jurassic, 170 million years ago. In the area of the 𝗕𝗕𝗃𝗀 Hill, trace fossils of 𝗕ᗕ𝗃𝗃𝗀 were discovered, probably left by a 𝗕പ്λοκαρίος dinosaur. 𝗕પ્λοκαρίος, resembling a large flightless bird, was a small predator and probably an ancestor of later 𝗱ݴᵐ. The Middle Jurassic is a period quite poor in fossils, so we get into a vehicle and move 20 million years forward to the village of 𝗕ᗕ𝗃𝗀. In the late Jurassic, traces were left here by a relative of the famous Tyrannosaurus. The most interesting, however, are the trace fossils and fossilized feces of pterosaurs from the Chenokasmidae group. In the soft coastal mud, the tracks of these animals were preserved, providing further evidence of the 4-legged gait of pterosaurs while resting on the ground. According to Polish and Swedish scientists from the Polish Academy of Sciences and Uppsala University, the composition of the found coprolites proves that these animals consumed food similarly to today's flamingos, filtering small creatures out of the water with their beaks. We're now going to the village of Bałtów to walk along the cliff by the Kamienna River. Here, dinosaur trace fossils were discovered by local people centuries before the arrival of scientists. This is evidenced by the legend of the Devil's Foot. In one of the rocks, there's an imprinted fossilized 3-toed trace with powerful claws. This gave rise to the legend of the devil, who had made a bet with an angel that he would jump over the river. The devil lost the bet and did not jump over the valley, but he left a powerful mark on the boulder. It is known today that the print of the devil's foot is the trace of Allosaurus, preserved in limestone. Limestone rocks are formed almost exclusively in warm seas, partly as a result of chemical processes, and, to a large extent, as a result of the activity of living organisms, mollusks and echinoderms, sponges and corals, producing calcareous skeletons contribute to this process. So why did the Allosaurus from Bałtów leave its footprint in limestone? Could it be possible that it walked on the seabed? Climate warming led to a rise in sea levels, as a result of which, in the late Jurassic, almost the entire area of today's Poland was covered by a shallow shelf sea. The only exceptions were individual islands surrounded by shallows, which were covered with mangroves during the periods when sea levels dropped. The island, or islands, where the dinosaurs from 𝗕𝗏 found shelter was named 𝗕przewski Island, after a Polish scientist. There is something unusual in the 𝗕əh𝗏 devil's foot. For an Allosaurus, it's quite small. The same can be said about all the traces found in 𝗕əh𝗏. The 𝗕əh𝗏 ceratosaurus, a large predator reaching up to 6 meters on the continent, was about 30% smaller on 𝗕przewski Island. Why were the dinosaurs from 𝗕przewski Island undergrown? This is due to insular dwarfism, a natural evolutionary process affecting large animals trapped on small islands with limited food resources. Additionally, in 𝗕əh𝗏, there is an interesting trace fossil of 𝗕𝗕𝗃𝗃 that is attributed to 𝗕𝗕𝗃𝗃saurus, an African stegosaurus clearly also found in Europe. The Polish trace fossil from 𝗕przewski Island indicates that these animals often moved only on their hind legs. In 𝗕əh𝗏, trace fossils identified as left by 𝗕psygnathus and Drysaurus were also discovered.
Dinosaurs were basal representatives of iguanodons. Iguanodons had a dexterous fifth finger, and speaking of a dexterous fifth finger, we kindly ask you to leave your thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and most importantly, get to know our patron and fundraiser. You will find the links to the gifts below. If you have watched this entire video, you will definitely like our Triassic episode too. In my opinion, the Triassic was one of the two most interesting and fossil-richest periods in Poland's territory. The link is displayed in the upper right-hand corner. And now, hop on the time machine.